everybody raise your hands with me and say hallelujah, finally I got to see Black Panther Wakanda Forever. This was probably the last film on the list of movies that I wanted to see in 2022 when they came out, but I couldn't because I have no theater in my town, so I had to wait, and it felt like forever. It felt like Wakanda Forever. Nice thing about this movie was that I knew absolutely nothing about it. I went in almost entirely blindly, other than one thing. The only thing that I actually knew about the movie before I went in to see it was that Riri Williams' character was introduced in it. And people were like, it's not a spoiler, it's official news, it was officially reported. Well, guess what? They can officially spoil you from official sources. It's one thing that I hate about social media. But other than that, I really didn't know anything about it. Unlike Doctor Strange and Multiverse of Madness, unlike Spider-Man No Way Home, where they're just like, let's spoil everything about it. You have 1 week to see it. And if you don't watch it within 1 week, well, screw you. I'm gonna spoil everything. Well, screw you too, because I don't have a theater and I can't see it. Anyway, let's get cracking on Black Panther Wakanda Forever. So in the wake of King T'Challa's death, Wakanda fights to protect their resources, i.e. vibranium. But there's also somebody out there looking for vibranium too and to protect their resources, and that is Namor and his team that kind of live underwater like they're Atlanteans in Aquaman. And the two just cannot get along. Namor wants to kill a scientist that figured out how to track down vibranium, and in order to protect their land and to stop people from finding them, their plan is to kill the scientist. But Wakanda's like, no, we don't kill people. So they both want the same thing, essentially, is to protect themselves and to keep other people away from vibranium and to protect their assets and the resources, but they just have different paths on which they plan to take in order to do that. This movie, I thought, was really well done. I didn't know how they would approach Chadwick Boseman's unfortunate passing. I didn't know if they would actually kill off the character. I didn't know if he's, you know, backpacking in Europe or something, or what. Because I didn't watch the trailers, I didn't read reviews, I didn't know anything about it other than Riri Williams. But obviously, as I said, and as I kind of expected, they had to deal with Chadwick Boseman's passing by also killing off the character of King T'Challa. And the way they did it was really good, but it seemed to somewhat mimic Chadwick Boseman's own story in a way, which is great. There's also this incredible political battle between Wakanda and Talokan, which is the underwater city that very much seems like Atlantis, that is weirdly relatable and understandable and full of culture and society, and it's crazy. It is crazy, and the greatest thing about this movie, I want to say, is probably Namor, who probably the best MCU villain since Thanos. He's relatable, he's understandable, you kind of understand where he's coming from, you understand his history, you feel for him, and there's a point in the movie where I swear you're on Team Namor, and Wakanda actually seems like the villain because they're blunt and they just go for it, while Namor's like, let's talk about this for a second, and then Wakanda's like, nah! But at the end of the day, I would say 90% of the time you're Team Wakanda anyway. The passing of Chadwick is definitely a big thing in this movie. You definitely feel the energy and the sadness seeping like a reverberation from beginning to end of the movie, and that's really, really good. I would actually say, and this is gonna be kind of a hot take on my part, but I actually prefer this movie over the first. The first was never a movie that I understood where everybody thought it was the best thing in the world or the best MCU movie or anything like that. It was fine. It was fair. It's basically the same thing that I think of when I see Avatar. I don't understand where all the love comes from with Avatar either. It's just I watch it and I'm like, I don't get it. But I do think Black Panther 2 is better than Black Panther 1. The only thing that is unfortunate there and bittersweet is the fact that Chadwick isn't in the movie. Chadwick was the best part of the first movie. And it is also kind of weird to call this movie Black Panther when there's not really a Black Panther in the movie for the most part. But when you start thinking about it as a legacy for the meaning of his character, it starts to make a lot more sense and you wouldn't have it any other way. But in general, I definitely really, really enjoyed Black Panther 2. I didn't know if I would or not, but I got into it. I would say that the movie is way too long. It's what, 2 hours and 40 some odd minutes? It's ridiculous. It does not need to be that long. They could have told the same story in a shorter time frame, but I digress. The movie looks great, it sounds great. And I also want to talk about the Atlantis place, Talocan. The one problem I've always watched when I watched Aquaman was how they dealt with stuff going on underwater. I always had a problem with what the people looked like, how they sounded. It looked fake, and I wanted to laugh at it. It's a billion times better in Wakanda Forever. It actually looks legitimately like they filmed underwater. And maybe they did, I don't know, I can't tell, and that's what's so good about it. I feel like they actually watched Aquaman and they're like, this is what we should avoid doing, and they did a great job. In general, Black Panther 2, Wakanda Forever, it did it. It actually found its way to my top 10 of the year for 2022. Let's take a look at what I scored Black Panther Wakanda Forever, which was an A letter grade! Final overall score of 95%. 95 out of 100 possible stars. This is a score that's pretty much agreed upon by both my unbiased and biased scores down below. As you can see, 94 and 96. It's a good movie. It's not the best superhero movie of the year. That would be Batman, but it's up there. 95%. That's fantastic. I did not actually expect it to be that highly scored. But obviously, I am also the last person to see Black Panther Wakanda Forever. So my opinion doesn't really count. You guys have already seen it, you know what you think about it. So it is what it is. But guys, let me know those thoughts in the comment section down below. And as for YouTube, you guys know what to do. Hit the like, hit the subscribe button, and hit the bell to be notified when I come out with my next review. And until then, peace out.